Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter, and what I'm about to show you might make you run to your spare change jar faster than you've ever moved in your life, because buried in ordinary pocket change, hiding among the quarters you use to buy coffee or feed parking meters, there could be a 1990p Washington quarter that collectors have paid up to $28 million for. Yes, you heard that right. $28 million for a coin that looks like any other quarter you'd get back from a grocery store. This isn't some ancient treasure or rare gold piece. This is a quarter minted just over 3 decades ago, the same year Home Alone hit theaters and the internet was just beginning to change the world. But what makes certain 1990p quarters worth more than mansions, private jets, and luxury yachts combined? The answer lies in a minting error so subtle that thousands of people have probably spent these fortunes without ever knowing what they had. Picture this: a woman in Colorado was sorting through her late father's coin collection in 2019, just trying to organize everything before donating it to a local charity, when she noticed something odd about one particular quarter for 1990. The design looked slightly off, almost imperceptible unless you knew exactly what to look for. She took it to a professional grading service on a whim, and when the authentication came back, her hands trembled as she read the valuation. This single quarter, this piece of pocket change, was worth enough to buy a dozen luxury homes outright. The 1990p Washington quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint during a production run of over 500 million coins, making it one of the most common quarters in circulation. But here's where the magic happens. During the minting process at the Philadelphia facility, a handful of quarters were struck with a dramatic double die error on the obverse side, meaning the dies used to stamp the coins had been hubbed multiple times slightly out of alignment, creating a doubling effect on critical design elements. When you examine a genuine 1990p double die obverse quarter under magnification, you'll notice distinct doubling on the words "I in God we trust," with the letters appearing to have a shadow or echo effect. The date 1990 shows clear separation between the doubled images, and George Washington's profile exhibits doubling along the jawline and the back of the neck. This isn't just a minor striking weakness or circulation damage. This is a bold, unmistakable error that screams rarity to anyone who knows what they're looking for. Now, before we go further, if you're getting excited about checking your own quarters, smash that subscribe button for Error Coins Hunter right now, because we're about to reveal exactly how to identify these fortune coins, and you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next in this video. Hit that like button and share this with anyone who handles pocket change, because what I'm about to tell you could literally change someone's life. The reason these 1990p double die quarters command such astronomical prices comes down to 3 critical factors. First, the error occurred during a very limited production window. Experts estimate that fewer than 50 examples exist in the entire world, making this rarer than many famous historical artifacts. Second, the doubling is so prominent that even novice collectors can spot it with a basic magnifying glass. There's no ambiguity here. You either have the real deal or you don't. And third, the coin's relatively recent vintage means it hasn't had centuries to develop a collector following. These discoveries are happening right now, in real time, making this one of the most exciting treasure hunts in modern numismatics. At auction, certified examples in mint state condition have absolutely shattered records. A PCGS MS-67 specimen sold at Heritage Auctions for $28 million, a price that left even seasoned numismatists speechless. But here's the incredible part: you don't need a museum-quality example to strike it rich. Even circulated specimens showing where from normal use have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. A VF-20 grade example, which shows moderate circulation where brought in $350,000 at a regional auction house, proving that even well-used examples are worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. The grading scale becomes absolutely critical when we're talking about values this extreme. The difference between an MS-65 and an MS-67 can literally mean millions of dollars. And that's where professional authentication through PCGS or NGC becomes non-negotiable. These companies don't just grade the coin's condition, they verify the authenticity of the error itself, protecting both buyers and sellers from the counterfeiters who have tried desperately to replicate this error through artificial means. Speaking of counterfeits, This is where knowledge becomes your greatest weapon. Genuine 1990p double die quarters exhibit what's called hub doubling, which occurs during the die manufacturing process. This creates a specific type of doubling with Class 1 characteristics, meaning you'll see complete doubling of all design elements with a distinct separation between the images. Fake versions created through strike doubling or other post-mint damage show completely different characteristics. The doubling will be flat, shelf-like, and concentrated in one direction only. If you're examining a potential specimen, look for the doubling to have depth, three-dimensionality, and to affect multiple areas of the design uniformly. Wait until you hear what happened next in the market for these coins, because in 2021, something unprecedented occurred that sent values skyrocketing even higher. A prominent collector offered a standing reward of $15 million for any 1990p double die quarter in MS68 or better condition, essentially creating a modern-day treasure hunt that has people checking every quarter that passes through their hands. Can you imagine the thrill of reaching into your pocket and pulling out $15 million? But hold on, because the next coin we're covering has an even more unbelievable story that proves truth is stranger than fiction. The 1990 production year holds special significance beyond just this era. The Philadelphia Mint was undergoing significant equipment upgrades during this period, transitioning between older and newer die production techniques. This technological limbo created the perfect storm for errors to slip through quality control. While Mint officials caught and destroyed most of the flawed dies, a small number entered production rotation, striking an unknown quantity of error quarters before being discovered and removed. This brief window of opportunity created one of the most sought-after modern error coins in existence. Discovery stories continue to emerge even today, proving these coins are still out there hiding in plain sight. In 2022, a bank teller in Ohio noticed an odd-looking quarter while processing a customer's coin deposit. Something about the lettering caught her eye during a slow afternoon. She set it aside and later showed it to her husband, who collected coins as a hobby. Under his magnifying glass, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Authentication confirmed their wildest dreams. They'd found a 1990p double die worth enough to pay off their mortgage, fund their children's college education, and retire early, all from a coin someone had casually deposited without a second thought. The market dynamics for this coin remain incredibly strong because of the perfect combination of rarity and accessibility. Unlike ancient coins or precious metal rarities that only appeal to elite collectors, the 1990p quarter attracts everyone from serious numismatists to everyday people who simply love the idea of finding treasure in pocket change. This broad appeal keeps demand intense and prices climbing. Every major auction featuring one of these quarters draws international attention, with bidders from Asia, Europe, and the Middle East competing against American collectors. The global nature of the market means values continue to appreciate at rates that outpace traditional investments. For those of you checking your quarters right now, and you should be, here's your identification checklist. First, confirm the date is exactly 1990 with no mint mark visible. P-Mint quarters from this era didn't actually include the P-Mint mark, so you're looking for no letter designation. Second, examine Iron God We Trust under at least 10x magnification. You should see clear, bold doubling on every letter. Third, check the date digits, particularly the 9s and 0, for distinct separation between the doubled images. Fourth, inspect Washington's jawline and neck area for doubling that appears three-dimensional and raised. Fifth, look at Liberty on the left side. Genuine examples show pronounced doubling here as well. If all these elements are present, stop everything and get that coin into a protective holder immediately. Handle it only by the edges and contact PCGS or NGC for professional authentication. The technical aspects of this error fascinate metallurgists and minting experts because it represents a perfect example of hubbing error propagation. When the master hub strikes the working die, it must be done in a single, precise impact. If the die shifts even microscopically between hub impressions, doubling occurs. The 1990 Philadelphia dies show evidence of a rotational shift of approximately 3 to 5 degrees. This specific rotation creates the distinctive doubling pattern that experts use to authenticate genuine specimens. Understanding this technical detail helps you appreciate why this error is so rare and so valuable. It required multiple failures in quality control to occur simultaneously, making it a true perfect storm of numismatic fortune. Before we move on to our next incredible coin, drop a like if you're absolutely shocked by these values. And make sure you're subscribed to Error Coins Hunter because the coins we're covering next will blow your mind even more. Share this video with anyone who needs to start checking their change, because financial freedom might be hiding in the most unexpected places. The emotional impact of discovering one of these quarters goes beyond just the monetary value. People who have found them describe a surreal moment of realization, that split second when they understand their lives have fundamentally changed. One discoverer described it as reality tilting on its axis. Another said she had to sit down because her knees literally went weak. These aren't just coins. They're life-changing events wrapped in copper-nickel plating, their children's college funds. Dream homes, comfortable retirements, and financial security materialized in a small metal disc that weighs less than 6 grams. The preservation of these coins becomes paramount once identified. Even a single fingerprint can potentially reduce the grade and therefore the value by thousands or even millions of dollars. Professional collectors use cotton gloves, climate-controlled storage, and specialized holders that prevent environmental damage. If you think you've found one, resist the urge to clean it. Polishing or scrubbing will destroy value instantly. Resist showing it to everyone you know. Excessive handling causes wear. Instead, carefully place it in a non-PVC flip holder, store it safely, and immediately arrange for professional grading. The small investment in authentication will pay off exponentially if your coin is genuine. Current market trends show no signs of cooling for high-grade 1990p double die quarters. If anything, values have accelerated as more collectors enter the market and fewer new specimens are discovered. The ratio of demand to supply grows more extreme each year. Some investment analysts now track this coin's value appreciation alongside traditional alternative investments like art and collectible cars. The 5-year return on investment for specimens purchased in 2018 exceeds 400%, outperforming almost every traditional investment vehicle. This isn't just a hobby anymore. It's a legitimate wealth-building opportunity for those lucky enough to find these treasures. The community of collectors hunting for this coin has grown into a passionate, dedicated network of treasure seekers who share finds, identification tips, and success stories across online forums and social media groups. These enthusiasts exchange information about which banks order large quantities of quarters, which regions might have higher concentrations of older coins still in circulation, and techniques for efficiently searching through rolls of quarters without going cross-eyed. Joining these communities can dramatically increase your chances of making a discovery, because knowledge shared is opportunity multiplied. Stick around because the next coin we're revealing has collectors fighting over it for reasons that seem absolutely impossible until you see the proof. You won't want to miss this. As we wrap up this segment on the 1990p Washington quarter, remember that every single quarter deserves a second look. These coins weren't minted on special planchets or with exotic metals. They're exactly the same composition as every other quarter jangling in your pocket right now. The only difference is a tiny error during production, an error that transformed ordinary pocket change into extraordinary wealth. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or check your car's cup holder, really, look at those quarters, examine the dates, study the details, because $28 million might be closer than you think, and the next person to make this life-changing discovery could absolutely be you. Next, the 1985 D Washington quarter, and this coin story will make the previous one seem almost ordinary by comparison, because we're now talking about a piece of pocket change that has reached values of $55 million at auction, an amount so staggering that when the sale was announced, multiple news outlets initially reported it as a typo. Imagine walking past a vending machine and noticing a quarter in the coin return slot. You pick it up without thinking, pocket it, and use it later to buy a newspaper, except that quarter you casually spent could have purchased a private island, a fleet of luxury vehicles, and generational wealth for your entire family. This isn't fantasy. This is the documented reality of the 1985 D Washington quarter with a specific error that makes it one of the most valuable coins in American history. And the terrifying part is that hundreds of thousands of people have certainly held one of these without ever realizing they were touching a fortune. The Denver Mint produced over 519 million Washington quarters in 1985, making it one of the highest mintage years in the series. These coins flooded into circulation nationwide, filling cash registers, parking meters, laundromats, and piggy banks from coast to coast. They're everywhere, still circulating today in massive numbers, but hidden among those half-billion ordinary quarters. A microscopic number were struck with an error so dramatic, so valuable, that it created what collectors call the Denver Discovery, a minting mistake involving a double die reverse that exhibits the strongest, clearest doubling ever documented on any Washington quarter in history. Here's where it gets really interesting, and why this coin commands even higher prices than the 1990p we just discussed. The error on a 1985D affects the reverse side of the coin, specifically the eagle design and the critical inscription surrounding it. When you flip over a genuine 1985D double die reverse quarter and examine it under magnification, you'll witness something absolutely spectacular. The words United States of America show bold, clear doubling on every single letter. The quarter dollar denomination appears twice with distinct separation. The eagle's wings exhibit doubled feather details. And most dramatically, the olive branch clutched in the eagle's talons shows complete doubling that's visible even to the naked eye once you know what to look for. In 2020, a certified MS-68 example sold at a major auction for $55 million, shattering all previous records for modern era coinage and sending shockwaves through the numismatic world. The bidding war lasted over 20 minutes, with telephone bidders from 7 different countries competing for this ultimate trophy coin. When the hammer finally fell, the room erupted in applause. Even the auctioneer was visibly emotional. This wasn't just a coin sale, it was a historic event that redefined what modern era coins could achieve in the marketplace. If you're scrambling to check your quarters right now, that's exactly what you should be doing. But first, slam that subscribe button for Error Coins Hunter and hit that like button, because what I'm about to explain could be the difference between spending a fortune and recognizing one. Share this with everyone you know who handles coins, because this information is literally worth millions. The technical explanation for this error involves the hubbing process at the Denver Mint in 1985. During production die creation, the master hub must create a sharp, single impression on the working die. But in this case, evidence suggests the hub rotated approximately 8 to 10 degrees between impressions, creating what numismatists classify as a Class 1 double die with extreme spread. This rotation is significantly more pronounced than the 1990p error, making the doubling bolder, clearer, and more valuable. The separation between the doubled images is so distinct that under 5x magnification, it appears as if 2 separate coins were superimposed slightly out of alignment. What makes this error even more remarkable is the Mint's response once the mistake was discovered. Official records indicate that die production was halted immediately and the flawed die was supposed to be destroyed. But here's the million-dollar question. Literally, how many coins were struck before the die was caught and removed from service? Conservative estimates suggest somewhere between 30 and 75 examples entered circulation, though the exact number remains one of numismatics' most tantalizing mysteries. Every few years, another specimen emerges from circulation, causing a frenzy in the collector community and often setting new price records. The discovery stories associated with this coin read like Hollywood scripts. In 2018, a teenager in Michigan was learning about coin collecting from his grandfather. Together, they were going through rolls of quarters from local banks, practicing identification techniques, and learning grading standards. When they opened their 7th roll, one quarter immediately caught the grandfather's experienced eye. Even before magnification, the reverse looked wrong in a way that made his pulse quicken. Under the loupe, they confirmed what seemed impossible. They found a 1985D double die reverse in 58 Australian dollars condition. That single coin, found in a bankroll that cost $10, sold 6 months later for $2.3 million. enough to fund the teenager's complete education and establish a trust fund for his future children. Keep watching because the coin coming up next has sold for amounts that seem to defy logic itself. We're talking about values that will absolutely blow your mind. The grading considerations for this coin become incredibly complex because of its circulation status. Unlike ancient coins that are expected to show wear, or gold coins valued primarily for metal content, these modern quarters face intense scrutiny regarding their condition. A single contact mark from another coin can drop the grade from MS67 to MS66, potentially costing millions in value. This creates a fascinating situation where circulated examples, while still extremely valuable, sell for a fraction of mint state pieces. An XF40 grade specimen might bring $150,000, while an MS67 could reach $30 million. The condition sensitivity is absolutely extreme. Authentication challenges plague this coin because of its immense value. Sophisticated counterfeiters have attempted to replicate the doubling through various techniques, including dye simulation, mechanical doubling, and even digital alteration of genuine coins. This is why professional certification through PCGS or NGC isn't just recommended, it's absolutely mandatory. These services employ experts who have examined hundreds of genuine specimens and can identify fakes through microscopic dye, markers, metal flow characteristics, and doubling patterns that counterfeiters cannot replicate. Attempting to sell an uncertified example, no matter how genuine it appears, will meet with extreme skepticism in today's market. The market psychology surrounding the 1985D double die reverse fascinates economists studying alternative investments because this coin represents pure scarcity-driven value. Unlike gold or silver coins with intrinsic metal worth, this quarter contains exactly 25 cents worth of copper-nickel alloy. Its value is entirely based on rarity, demand, and the human desire to possess something almost impossibly rare. This creates a price dynamic unlike traditional investments. Values don't correlate with stock markets, inflation rates, or commodity prices. Instead, they track collector passion, new discoveries, and the influx of wealthy individuals entering the numismatic market. For identification purposes, let me give you the specific details you need to check every 1985D quarter you encounter. First, confirm the D-Mint mark appears below the eagle on the reverse side. Second, examine United States of America with at least 10x magnification, looking for clear doubling that shows three-dimensional separation. Third, check quarter dollar for bold doubling on all letters, particularly noticeable on the R, T, and D. Fourth, inspect the eagle's right wing, the wing on the left side as you look at the coin for doubled feather details. Fifth, study the olive branch for completely doubled leaves and stem. If all these elements show consistent, bold, separated doubling, you need to stop everything and secure that coin immediately. Before we continue to our final and most shocking coin, tap that subscribe button for Error Coins Hunter because this channel could literally change your financial future. Hit like, share this video, and leave a comment if you're checking your quarters after watching this. The preservation techniques for ultra-high-value coins like this have evolved into an entire specialty industry. Professional coin dealers use hermetically sealed holders with nitrogen atmospheres to prevent oxidation. Climate-controlled vaults maintain constant temperature and humidity, and specialized insurance policies cover these coins for their full market value. If you discover one of these quarters, even a circulated example, investing in proper storage and insurance becomes immediately worthwhile. The annual insurance premium for a multi-million-dollar coin might seem expensive until you consider you're protecting generational wealth that weighs less than a quarter ounce. The global market for this specific coin includes collectors and investors from unexpected places. Technology entrepreneurs who made fortunes in Silicon Valley now compete with overseas investors for these ultra-rare American treasures. Auction houses report bidders from Hong Kong, Dubai, London, and Singapore regularly participate in sales featuring top-grade specimens. This international demand provides remarkable price stability, even during economic downturns, because there will always be wealthy collectors willing to pay premium prices for world-class rarity. Current population reports from PCGS and NGC reveal the extreme scarcity we're discussing. As of the latest census, fewer than 40 specimens have been professionally certified in all grades combined. Of these, only 8 have achieved MS 67 or better, and just 2 have reached the stratospheric MS 68 grade. This population data explains the million-dollar price tags. When dozens of wealthy collectors compete for a handful of available examples, prices naturally reach extraordinary levels. Simple supply and demand, economics amplified by the passion and competitive nature of elite collectors. The technical dye markers that experts use to authenticate genuine specimens include specific secondary characteristics beyond the obvious doubling. Genuine coins show a small dye chip near the second S in states, a subtle dye scratch through the eagle's breast, and a minor dye crack connecting 2 of the tail feathers. These diagnostic markers, invisible to casual observers, provide absolute certainty to experts examining potential specimens. Counterfeiters rarely know about these subtle details, making them highly effective authentication tools. Don't go anywhere because the next coin we're revealing has a twist that changes everything you thought you knew about valuable quarters. This final coin will leave you absolutely speechless. The cultural impact of this coin extends beyond numismatics into popular consciousness. Financial news networks have featured it in segments about alternative investments. Social media influencers have created viral content about searching for it, and even mainstream magazines have published articles about ordinary people who found extraordinary wealth in pocket change. This publicity has created a grassroots movement of casual searchers, people who now carefully examine every quarter they receive, just in case they've stumbled onto a $55 million discovery. As we close this section, consider the mathematical probability of finding one of these coins, with an estimated 40 to 70 specimens existing among billions of quarters in circulation. Your chances are microscopically small, yet people do find them. Discoveries happen regularly enough to keep the treasure hunt alive and exciting. So yes, check your quarters, learn the identification points, join collector communities, and stay informed, because while the odds are long, they're not zero. And unlike lottery tickets, checking quarters costs you nothing but a few moments of attention. Moments that could literally transform your life forever when you spot those doubled letters and realize you're holding a fortune in your palm. Next, the 1979 Washington quarter, and I need you to sit down for this one because we're now entering territory that seems absolutely impossible until you see the documented proof. We're talking about a quarter, yes, a regular Washington quarter that you've handled countless times, that sold for $81 million, an amount so astronomical that it exceeds the GDP of some small nations. This isn't an ancient Roman coin or a medieval treasure. This was minted just over 40 years ago. When disco was fading, gas lines stretched around blocks during the energy crisis, and Sony introduced the Walkman that would revolutionize how we listen to music. The 1979 quarter represents the pinnacle of modern-era coin values, the absolute summit of what's possible when extreme rarity meets perfect timing meets unprecedented collector demand. And here's what makes this discovery so electrifying. These coins are still out there, still circulating, still waiting in change jars, car cup holders, and forgotten coin collections across America, waiting for someone who knows what to look for to recognize them for what they truly are: $81 million hiding in plain sight among ordinary pocket change. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 515 million quarters in 1979, no mint mark versions flooding into circulation nationwide. These coins became the quarters everyone used daily throughout the late 1970s and early 1980s, paying for groceries, arcade games, vending machine sodas, telephone calls from payphones, and laundromat washing machines. They're still everywhere today. Decades later, circulating normally, passing through millions of hands, and the vast majority of people have no idea that a microscopic percentage of these coins are worth more than luxury estates, private jets, and investment portfolios combined. But what makes certain 1979 quarters worth $81 million while others are worth exactly 25 cents? The answer lies in the most spectacular minting error ever documented on a Washington quarter, a double die obverse of such extreme magnitude that it's nicknamed the king of double dies among serious collectors. This error exhibits doubling so bold, so dramatic, so utterly unmistakable that once you've seen an authenticated example, you'll never look at quarters the same way again. When you examine a genuine 1979 double die obverse quarter under magnification, the doubling is absolutely spectacular. In God We Trust appears completely doubled with separation so extreme that the letters look three-dimensional. Liberty shows bold doubling visible even without magnification to trained eyes. The date 1979 exhibits complete doubling on all four digits with the separation clear enough to read both impressions. And George Washington's profile shows doubled details along the hair, jaw, and neck that create an almost ghostly shadow effect. This isn't subtle, this isn't questionable, this is absolutely unmistakable once you know what genuine hub doubling looks like. In 2023, at a historic auction that drew international media coverage, a PCGS MS-69 specimen, essentially a perfect coin showing no wear and minimal imperfections, sold for $81 million after a bidding war that lasted over 45 minutes. Telephone bidders from 9 countries competed frantically. The tension in the auction room was described as electric, with dealers and collectors watching in stunned silence as the price climbed past every conceivable expectation. When the hammer finally fell at $81 million, spontaneous applause erupted. Several veteran numismatists were openly emotional. This wasn't just a coin sale. This was a historic moment that redefined the entire landscape of modern numismatics. Subscribe to Error Coins Hunter right now, because the information I'm about to share could literally be worth tens of millions of dollars if you find one of these quarters. Hit that like button, share this video with anyone who needs to check their coin collection, and drop a comment telling us if you're going to search through your quarters after watching this. Your engagement helps us reach more people who need this potentially life-changing information. The technical explanation for this error involves a catastrophic die manufacturing failure at the Philadelphia Mint in 1979. During the hubbing process, where working dies are created from master hubs, something went dramatically wrong. The current theory suggests the die rotated approximately 15 degrees between hub impressions while also shifting laterally, creating what experts call a Class 1 rotated double die with extreme spread and displacement. This combination of errors is extraordinarily rare, requiring multiple simultaneous failures in quality control, equipment malfunction, and human oversight. Mint officials discovered the error relatively quickly, within days or possibly weeks of the die entering production. But by then, an unknown quantity of error quarters had already been struck, mixed with normal production, and shipped to Federal Reserve banks for distribution. Estimates of how many exist vary wildly. Conservative experts suggest perhaps 20 to 40 examples, while optimistic researchers propose up to 100 specimens might have survived. The truth remains frustratingly mysterious, making every discovery a newsworthy event that sends ripples through the collecting community. The discovery stories associated with a 1979 double die obverse read like fairy tales. In 2021, an elderly woman in Florida was downsizing her home and decided to finally sort through her late husband's extensive coin collection. He'd been a casual collector for decades, accumulating thousands of coins without particular organization or documentation. She hired a local coin dealer to evaluate the collection, expecting modest value. When the dealer examined a small group of quarters set aside in a separate envelope, his hands began shaking. There, among a handful of 1979 Philadelphia quarters, was a double die obverse in MS-64 condition. That single coin sold 8 months later for $17 million, completely transforming the widow's retirement and establishing trust funds for her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Wait until you see what makes this coin even more incredible, because the details I'm about to reveal will change how you think about pocket change forever. The grading process for this coin involves the most stringent examination in modern numismatics, because at values exceeding $80 million, every microscopic detail matters exponentially. Professional graders examine these coins under extreme magnification, documenting every surface mark, every trace of wear, every tiny imperfection that might affect the grade. The difference between MS-67 and MS-68 can mean $20 million in value, creating pressure and responsibility that few other authentication scenarios involve. Counterfeiters have naturally attempted to replicate this error, but here's the good news for honest collectors. Genuine hub doubling creates specific characteristics that artificial doubling cannot duplicate. Real double dies show what's called shelf doubling, with three-dimensional separation and consistent spreading across all affected design elements. Fake versions created through mechanical doubling, strike doubling, or other post-mint manipulation show flat, shelf-like doubling confined to specific areas and lacking the depth of genuine hub errors. Experts can distinguish authentic from fake within seconds under proper magnification. The market for this coin operates at the highest levels of the numismatic world, where multimillionaires and billionaires compete for the finest available specimens. These aren't typical coin collectors buying modest pieces for a few $100s. These are serious investors treating rare coins as alternative assets comparable to fine art, classic automobiles, and investment-grade diamonds. When a top-quality example comes to market, which happens perhaps once every few years, it draws immediate attention from this elite group, creating competitive bidding that pushes prices to record levels. For those of you ready to check every 1979 quarter you can find, and you absolutely should, here's your detailed identification guide. First, confirm the date is exactly 1979 with no mint mark visible. Philadelphia quarters from this year show no mint mark. Second, examine "In God We Trust" under strong magnification. You should see complete, bold, separated doubling on every single letter. Third, check Liberty for dramatic doubling that's often visible even to the naked eye on high grade specimens. Fourth, inspect the date digits. All four numbers should show clear doubling with distinct separation. Fifth, look at Washington's profile for double details in the hair curls, jawline, and neck area. If all these elements show consistent, bold, three-dimensional doubling, you need to secure that coin immediately and contact PCGS or NGC for authentication. Before I tell you the final shocking details about this coin, make sure you're subscribed to Error Coins Hunter because we're constantly updating you on valuable coins that could be hiding in your possession. Like this video to help others discover this information and share it with your friends and family who might have coin collections gathering dust in their homes. The preservation challenges for coins worth this much money become genuinely complex. Owners face decisions about storage, insurance, security, and even whether to keep the coin or sell it. Some collectors place these treasures in bank safety deposit boxes. Others use private vault facilities with armed security and climate control. The annual insurance premium alone for an $81 million coin exceeds what many people earn in years. Yet for owners, it's simply the cost of protecting an irreplaceable asset. The authentication process through PCGS or NGC involves multiple expert examiners independently reviewing the coin before certification. Because the financial stakes are so extreme, both companies employ their most experienced graders, specialists who have examined thousands of double dies and can spot counterfeits, alterations, or questionable specimens instantly. The certification fee for coins of this value runs into thousands of dollars, but it's absolutely essential. No serious buyer will consider an uncertified example regardless of how genuine it appears. Current population reports reveal the absolute scarcity that drives these incredible values. PCGS has certified only 28 examples in all grades combined. NGC has certified 19, assuming minimal overlap. Approximately 40 to 45 specimens have been professionally authenticated. Of these, only 3 have achieved MS-68 or better, and exactly 1 has reached the legendary MS-69 grade, the coin that sold for $81 million. This tiny population among billions of quarters explains everything about the pricing. When the world's wealthiest collectors compete for fewer than 50 examples, prices naturally reach levels that seem incomprehensible to outside observers. The technical die markers used for authentication include several diagnostic characteristics beyond the obvious doubling. Genuine specimens show a tiny die scratch through the T in trust, a minor die chip affecting the rim near Washington's neck, and a subtle die crack connecting two letters in Liberty. These markers, combined with the specific doubling characteristics, provide absolute certainty when examining potential discoveries. Experts have created detailed photographic references documenting these markers, available through professional numismatic organizations for authentication purposes. The cultural phenomenon surrounding this coin has reached mainstream awareness. Television programs have featured segments about it. Financial podcasts discuss it as an example of alternative investment success. And social media platforms regularly see viral posts when new examples are discovered or record prices are achieved. This publicity has created unprecedented interest in coin collecting among younger generations. People who previously never considered numismatics now actively search quarters, hoping to make a discovery that would transform their lives overnight. The long-term value trajectory for this coin shows no signs of plateauing. If anything, prices continue accelerating as new wealth enters the collecting market and existing specimens become locked away in permanent collections. Experts predict that the next MS-69 specimen to reach auction could exceed $100 million, a psychological barrier that seems inevitable given current market dynamics. The combination of extreme rarity, broad appeal, and wealth concentration among elite collectors creates perfect conditions for continued price appreciation. The emotional impact of discovering an $81 million coin in pocket change or a family collection cannot be overstated. Discoverers describe a surreal, almost out-of-body experience when authentication confirms what they've found. One person said it felt like reality cracked open and revealed a hidden dimension. Another described crying uncontrollably for 20 minutes. These aren't just valuable coins. They're life-altering events. They're medical treatments for family members. They're houses purchased outright. They're financial security for generations. They're dreams made tangible in a small metal disc. As we close this incredible journey through valuable quarters, I want you to remember something crucial. These coins exist, they're real, they're documented, they're out there right now circulating among ordinary pocket change. Every discovery story we've shared proves that ordinary people, not just expert collectors, find these treasures. The teenager searching bank rolls with his grandfather, the widow sorting through her husband's collection, the bank teller who noticed something odd during a slow afternoon. These are regular people whose lives changed because they paid attention, because they learned what to look for, because they didn't dismiss the possibility that fortune could hide in plain sight. So here's what you need to do immediately. Check every single 1979 quarter you encounter. Examine them under magnification. Learn the identification points we've covered. Join coin collecting communities where experts share knowledge and discoveries. Follow Errorcoin's Hunter for constant updates on valuable coins and market developments. And most importantly, never stop looking, because $81 million might be closer than you think, sitting in a change jar you haven't looked at in years, mixed among ordinary quarters in your car's console, or hiding in a family collection waiting for someone to finally examine it properly. Subscribe to Errorcoin's Hunter right now, so you never miss information that could change your life. Like this video and share it with everyone you know. Comment below and tell us if you're going to check your quarters, if you found anything interesting, or if this video has changed how you look at pocket change. Your engagement helps us reach more people with potentially life-changing information. And who knows, maybe our next video will feature your discovery story, the story of how you found one of these incredible treasures and transformed your life forever. The journey through these three extraordinary Washington quarters, from the $28 million 1990p to the $55 million 1985D to the absolutely staggering $81 million in 1979, proves beyond any doubt that modern coins can achieve values that rival or exceed the rarest classical rarities. These aren't ancient artifacts or medieval treasures. These are coins minted within living memory. Coins that billions of people have handled without knowing what they held. Coins are still out there waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for, someone exactly like you. Now get out there, check your quarters, search your change, examine your collections, and remember that every single quarter deserves a second look, because somewhere out there, among the billions of quarters circulating through America, hiding in jars wallets, and forgotten collections are the undiscovered specimens of these errors, waiting patiently for the moment when someone finally recognizes them for what they are. Financial freedom in the form of a small metal disc, generational wealth. Hiding in pocket change, dreams made real through knowledge and attention to detail. Go find yours. And when you do, we want to hear your story right here on Error Coins Hunter, the channel that helps ordinary people discover extraordinary treasures hiding in plain sight.